CEE Brown in your face.
Have you heard of Everything at Once?
Do you know about Everything at Once?
It's internationally known.
Aliens listen to it.
It's the best ever.
If there's something you're looking for in the 814, or feeling a little bored and think there ain't no more, check out Everything at Once and allow it to be your source. It's that raw podcast that's always showing support, highlighting the scene. No need to take I-90 to Peep or 79 to see how it be. Interviewing your locals with mindsets that are global. Innovators and creators on every single upload. So much going on in the EPA.
Incredible content.
Everything at Once will keep you up to date.
Amazing guests.
What you doing? Come through and hang with Tony and Dave.
Community driven.
Bringing everything at once from around the way. Everything at once from around the way. Hey.
Please listen. We love you. Everything at Once.
Everything at Once.
It's time to introduce this show.
The best show on the face of the planet.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in today. We want to thank our Patreon producers, Brian G., Josh W., Ian D., Nick G., and Sadie M.
Patreon, it's an awesome way to support the show and say thanks. You can become a Patreon supporter by clicking the link below and choosing to be an intern, assistant, or producer level supporter.
If being on the production team is too much pressure for you, you can also send any contributions using our Venmo at Everything at Once Studios. We now want to thank all the local businesses who supported this episode. These businesses get the Everything at Once stamp of approval and are critical members of the Everything at Once community. We couldn't do it without them. With winter approaching, are there any last-minute details that you want to change or renovate around your home?
I might, but you know who to call.
Yeah! Ghostbusters!
No, Tony. No, not Ghostbusters. Solid State Construction.
Oh, yeah. Solid State.
Yeah.
Duh. Solid State takes pride in all their home remodeling projects. Solid State specializes in bathroom remodeling, kitchen renovation, window and door installation, custom design work, and more, including painting, flooring, drywall, sidewalk, decks. Get your free quote today by calling Nick at 814-397-7854. Solid people, solid product, Solid State Construction.
You know, Tony, with all these renovations from Solid State, I think we might have kicked up some bad energy around here. Yeah, oh yeah. Luckily, we know just the people to go see.
I know it this time. It's Ghostbusters.
No, Tony! Our friends at Cauldron and Thorne!
Wow. I feel really dumb right now, and I can't believe I didn't think of Cauldron and Thorne, the world's largest witchcraft and metaphysical shop, with everything a person needs to channel the spirit world.
Practice some self-care.
Find enlightenment.
Curse your enemies.
Protect yourself from your enemies.
Bless your friends.
Cleanse your space from negative energies. You can check out all the magical wares available at for these different practices we all love and enjoy at Cauldron and Thorne, 2724 West 8th Street, or online at cauldronandthorne.com.
This week, we have an incredible guest for you.
What was it? If it's everything at once, then sports is part of everything.
Yeah,
that's correct.
We've had other sports journalists, such as yourselves, on the show before. We've had MMA fighters, a couple MMA fighters. Really happy to have you guys here.
Mr. No Gimmick?
Mr. No Gimmick.
Definitely been on the show. Carl came on the show too. That's it as far as sports goes. And Mike, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his last name either.
Yeah, he has a sports podcast, mostly about the Saints, and he does a lot of interviews with college athletes that are about to get drafted.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we're happy to have you guys here from Steel Pirate Media. We got Josh and Riley. They have a sports show, Steel Pirate Show, and you can find it on YouTube. It's pretty good. I've watched quite a few. It's entertaining. You guys are always fun. We've had Josh on in the past for an Am I the Asshole. That was a real good time. So how'd you...
Is Josh the asshole?
Josh...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously.
I didn't see
no
it.
need
I haven't
to,
watched it, but come on.
I think at one point we were all probably the assholes during that
yes.
show.
Yeah, that's usually
No,
how
it
that
came
breaks
down to poor parenting.
Poor
Parents
Oh,
were
yeah.
the assholes almost
Kids.
every time.
Yeah.
Almost every episode, it comes down to the kids or poor parents.
Shitty parents.
Yeah.
Shitty parents.
Shitty parents make shitty kids.
Yeah, I mean, they post on Reddit and give us amazing stories to read and judge and compare, you know. Makes
And-
me feel better about myself that I'm not doing those kinds of things, that I'm not that big of a piece of shit. That
We're right around the corner from Independence Day, so there might be an Am I the Asshole coming up soon. So watch
we haven't
out
done
for
one
that.
in a while either, so it might be about that time to bust it back out. 4th of July, Am I the Asshole?
Journalist is a strong word.
For
Yeah.
you
I don't know if
guys,
you caught that.
I did.
You wouldn't say you're journalists?
No.
Report sports commentators?
No.
So
No?
if you
Nope.
in our bio, I said we're just a few voices from the crowd,
Okay.
and that's all we really are. Like,
Once we get those D1 press passes, then we can legitimize the phrase
we're not
journalist.
I remember.
I don't think we're playing off of a storyline or looking for a story. We more like play just the sheer analytical side.
Sure.
No?
Yeah.
Well,
We're
you got-
basically just nerds. Just in
sports nerds. Yeah.
Exactly. Especially football. But like there's so like we're all good with football. I'll say the core four of us because we've brought a couple people on, you know, here and there. We're starting to get like guests on, like Dave was just on one that we recently recorded. This echo is fucking with me, dude.
It's actually pretty good right now.
Okay.
There's not a lot of latency in the headphones, but you can definitely hear yourself.
Yeah. It's
I enjoy it. It
So-
helps me.
It makes
keep
you
my
feel
own
official.
volume. No, it makes me like understand my own volume.
Yeah. No
But
doubt.
on paper, all of us are very, especially NFL football nerds. And like a few of us, pretty nerdy with the college football. Me and Ronnie are good with UFC. He's good with NHL. Me and Avery are pretty good with basketball. Avery, as far as like actual sports nerd, he is a fucking encyclopedia. Like you could call him right now and say, hey, who are the top, I don't know, 10
2008.
prospects for NCAA baseball? And he'd be like, he'd just go to 50, just straight down the line, just like, this is where they played. This is why they're good. Like, just the depth of statistical knowledge that he has is just bananas. And the rest of us really just have opinions and like favorite teams. And
Sure.
it's really easy to
non-favorite
debate sports.
teams.
non-favorite
Yeah.
teams.
I have a
Some
very
teams that you're not a fan of.
not at all. Yeah, right.
Hate
I
the
get that.
Cowboys.
Hate.
Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate the Cowboys.
That's a pretty popular team to hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
America's team.
America's team.
You
to
know
hate.
why they're America's team, right?
I do.
Probably some marketing campaign in the 80s.
The
70s.
Steelers didn't want to be.
No, okay. Why didn't the Steelers want to be?
You walked right into that.
Too much pressure.
No, okay.
Yeah, they also had the, along with the Lions, got those Thanksgiving games back
Yep.
in the day, and that
Yeah.
definitely helped them become America's team.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody gathers around to watch football.
The
Thanksgiving,
Cowboys
Christmas.
beat the shit out of the Lions every year while
It's-
they're digesting turkey.
It's kind of sad to watch.
The Lions are going to give them hell now.
Yeah,
They've been waiting.
they're looking tough. I was rooting for them this year in the playoffs. They were like
think everybody
big
was.
underdogs. Yeah, dude. Everybody wanted to see them do good for once.
They're like the Jets now. Like you see a team get their teeth kicked in so long that it gets to a point where it's like, it's not even where like you want to see parity. It's just like, God, can something good happen for this fucking organization for
Right.
Christ's sake? Except for the Browns. Riley hates the Browns.
I was
to
gonna
his
say
core.
with a name like Steel Pirate, I was gonna say no love lost for Cleveland.
No.
It's not even a hate. I mean, it's like your little brother that you always beat up. Eventually, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Like,
Yeah.
they try. They give their best swing, but
People have been optimistic about the Browns too the past couple of years.
Oh, it's
Well-
their year.
Yeah,
It's their
every
year.
year.
It's their year.
well,
Cowboys too. It's their year.
It's their year.
I'll say that if it was a team with a direction, the Browns don't have a direction. They just like think of something and then it happens, and it's not year to year to year to year. Like you can't have a starting quarterback like Baker Mayfield and absolutely tank his value, get a conditional 6th-round pick, and then sign the biggest quarterback contract in history for Baker Mayfield to turn around and go win a playoff game and then sign 100. But
It wasn't so much to win a playoff game; it was who he beat in the playoff game.
right, but it's just, to me, when you're talking about the Browns, like it's stuff like that. I mean, you guys are intelligent individuals, and how do you fuck that up? Like, how do you not get a draft pick for a quarterback that wins the Super Bowl 2 years later? Or
Well,
not
how do you
a
fuck
playoff
up-
game 2 years later? It's mind blowing to me.
How do you fuck up so many
Yeah.
first round quarterbacks consecutively, year after year after year after year, and then convince yourself like we're not the problem? All of these guys just stink.
I could argue that, though. How many first round quarterbacks are good year after year after
Well,
year?
no.
after
How
year?
many first
So,
round
There've
players
been
are
a few
good?
the past few years, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
But do you see what just
every
happened right
year.
here? This is why we started a show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
you
was
can go
about to
for hours.
I was
Right.
about to go down that
I don't
rabbit
even
hole
watch
pretty hard.
sports that much anymore, but I feel like I can at least
You're
Yeah,
in.
but-
enjoy and be involved in this conversation. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the whole thing. It's like we knew doing this and being semi-knowledgeable would give us an immediate demographic. Like I told Riley, I said, my guess is men 25 to 55. And he
Right.
told me what the actual demographic was, and I was like 5 years off. I was
Yeah.
like, that's what we're shooting for.
Plus, your market is a national market too. You're not just
Exactly.
reaching to people in Erie like we are. You know, we kind of focus on local people, local businesses, local
Yeah.
entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
all that shit. Local artists, musicians. Whereas with national sports, you really could have you guys could get an audience from California. You know, maybe somebody out there likes and listens to your show and he can relate and understand because he watches fucking sports. You know what I mean? Instead of us talking to somebody that probably doesn't give a shit about local musicians or what business just opened up here in Erie.
Right.
Block grants.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Well, yeah, Ronnie lives in Florida and Avery lives in Ohio now, but he's from Carolina. And so, yeah, it's just case in point. When we had guests on in the last couple weeks, Riley had a
Minnesota.
buddy from Indianapolis, and he was talking about the Colts. I had Dave on to talk about the Raiders. I had Adam Hillier on to talk about the Jets. And it's just there's those obscure team fans out there who are maybe nerdier than us. You know
Yeah,
what I
right.
mean? That will be more than willing to go on camera and just, suck their
Talk about
team's
that
dick
shit,
for
yeah.
the foreseeable future. Yeah.
When I went about all of it, we were kind of in a group chat already, and we were doing it. You know what I mean? It wasn't voice and video. It wasn't being recorded, but
These conversations were already happening.
yeah. And
The thought of
And it
why
came
isn't this
down
being
to-
recorded just kept recurring.
we would text each other things, and then you'd turn on the big networks, ESPN, Fox Sports, and they would say the same thing. And I would go back, and I'm like, dude, but
And it's happened since we started the show.
yeah.
The issue is we record on a Tuesday, and it usually doesn't get posted until Friday or Saturday. And we record on a Thursday, we're talking about something that's happening right then, and then McAfee right away, noon
Yeah,
Wednesday.
he goes
It's
Wednesday morning,
Right.
and
He
it's
beat
already
us.
out there. Yeah.
he didn't beat us, but he beat us.
My
Right.
favorite thing is something new happens in the sports world, and I come up with a pun, and I put it in a group message, and then I
Immediately.
see it on the banner of First Take, and I'm like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
That was,
You're a
that
fucking
was
writer for
gold.
ESPN.
Yeah.
Are there any specific sports commentators that you guys really like to listen to, or that inspired you, or that you role
Wanna
model yourself at?
Emulate.
We might have different ones. Well, there's two that immediately come to mind for me.
So
Chris Collinsworth.
Certainly not Chris Collinsworth. We'll get into that at the end of this if we have time.
So I I've kind of emulated, for what you will, just Portnoy and his ways. Okay, he runs a very successful business, but it's not in a super professional way, if you will. And the professional term can be interpret it however, but he's laid back. He runs a tight ship, but has a ton of fun. And that's the basis of my life, is go have fun.
Right.
And I saw what he was doing, and he just found other people that wanted to have fun too, and now they're all successful having fun. And that was kind of where it's kind of what I try to do. I mean, granted, he's not on those shows as much. He's not a state, but just like being, I'd like to turn into some sort of organization where, not that I'm the boss of him like Portnoy is, but it's an organization that other people can do kind of the same thing and grow together, like a network, if you will.
Yeah, no doubt.
But PMT and Big Cat, part of my take. That's the #1 sports podcast in the world, and they have been for a while, and they say whatever they want. They're uncensored. They have sponsors, but they're not like bought by anyone. Like, they have a very raw and authentic show, and they just bullshit about sports multiple times a week for a couple hours. And like
McAfee too. I mean,
it's the same idea.
that's the easy one. I was trying to take it maybe a step further, but I definitely would love to be Pat McAfee.
My goal is for 5 years from now, Barstool is like, do you want a partner? Or can we buy you? The answer to both of those questions is yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, dude, that's definitely the dream. And or getting like a syndicated radio show or podcast or whatever.
Anything.
You know what
Sirius
I mean?
XM, anything.
Sirius XM. There's local sports radio too. I don't know how local it actually is. It seems like it's all like nationally based. Like all the program is nationally syndicated stuff. But it would be cool to get on something like that too.
Yeah.
I used to listen to a lot of sports talk radio, but I haven't really been so much. And there was this one dude that was on late at night who had a suit. He sounded like he smoked like a million fucking Newports and was from New York City or something like that. And he was
A gambler.
He was like in a room this
Such
big
as
too.
myself.
Yeah, and he was fucking hilarious. I loved his shit. But sports is entertaining, you know what I mean? Everybody likes it. Well, maybe not everybody likes it, but there's a large audience out there that wants to reach and wants to enjoy, and it's doing the same things you guys are. And it's nice to be able to listen to that and to be able to hear that and hear new takes and new opinions and form these relationships, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the cool things about having a podcast now is like people don't really give too much like everybody's got the same takes, you know what I mean? You're seeing your shit pop up on ESPN or whatever other networks. It's really you that they like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want to hear from you. They want to hear your personality, your authenticity, your takes on this because they have listened and they've formed this relationship, this trust, this parasocial relationship with you guys.
Well, yeah, that's why I like part of my take so much, because it's not like they're like, and Stephen Kwan bats about 340 right now, so I would probably bet him to get a hit sometime in the next 2 games. And
yeah, that's
it's
definitely
like
not
that's
how you
gambling.
podcast.
It's like no, there's the authenticity factor of like uncensored. I fucking hate this team. This is why this person has absolutely shafted me so many times, and we started incorporating like bet of the week, and kind of like talking a little bit about the sports betting aspect, because that's becoming a massive thing now.
Huge.
And like I'm thinking that very soon here we're gonna start kind of leaning towards fantasy football, because that's its own massive industry. And like what's a mock draft look like between a few of us for a round or two, like
For sure. And people are going to want to track that too if you guys have your own fantasy league, you know what I mean? Is my person that I like most out of you four?
yeah.
Well,
like doing
And can
good,
we
you know what I mean?
we can live stream a draft itself.
Sure.
What's super exciting for me, at least, is the new NCAA coming out. We want to get together like a dynasty in there and be able to hopefully, a live stream a championship on Twitch, between just, again, the whatever group I've planted seeds with a few people. And, hey, if you want to do this when this game comes out, let's do it. Because that's what I like. Like, when I went...
So you guys got like the radio, not radio show, but you guys got the show.
Yep.
You're also doing like...
We've done a Madden tournament.
You do like live commentary on games and stuff sometimes too. I've watched
So
a
we
couple
did
of those.
we did a
draft.
watch party for the
Yeah.
draft. It was kind of cool.
Dave was there.
Yeah, we're gonna do a watch party for UFC 303. That'll hopefully be fun. It gets you out of that watching the same guy talk about the same fighters. Don't get me wrong, I love Rogan.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I love DC. I love these guys that do the UFC and the pay-per-view fights and all that. It's great, but just to
Those guys aren't betting on the fights.
They're not allowed
You
to.
get to watch somebody
Right.
sweat out a 6-leg parlay
Right.
that, like, please win this fight. Like, you're fighting for me now.
Well, you don't know that they're not betting on the fights.
Yeah, they could very well be betting on the fights.
yeah,
Could be.
I think
they're not supposed to be though.
I feel like they couldn't they?
commentators.
Definitely not.
Anybody can bet if they
That's what I'm
want to.
saying. Shohei Ohtani pulled it off.
Shohei Ohtani.
He had a dinger
That
last
was-
night.
That was his agent, wasn't it? Or his interpreter?
His
excuse me.
interpreter.
His interpreter. Pete Rose came out and said, I was one interpreter away from being in the Hall of Fame.
That's what he said. I wish I had an interpreter.
You know, I met him once. He came to the casino like a decade
Naturally.
ago.
I bet.
Yeah,
Naturally.
he was a cool dude.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's exciting, and sports betting is really exciting just in general. Like,
Yeah.
whether you're doing it personally or you're like, we got Josh over here with a 6-game parlay, or Riley doing whatever he's doing.
Who's ready to lose?
It just adds like a higher level of intensity. You know what I mean? There's something on the line other than like my personal enjoyment of
Yeah.
this situation.
It's kind of interesting. So it's kind of progressed week in and week out. But this Tuesday night is when we record, and Josh always has a something swinging.
Oh,
and
every day.
And because we record at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, it's like, you know, beginning of the second quarter or whatever. So by the time we're done, he's just like, "Oh my, who?"
Yeah, Al Horford.
Yeah,
Al Horford. You know,
I was like, this piece of dog shit's not going to be able to get 5 rebounds, for fuck's sake. And then it goes to overtime, and with like a minute and a half left, he barely nabs a board. And I was like, oh my God.
I want, you know what I want to see? I want to see a special episode where Josh just goes through his list
of bands.
of band players.
Oh, there's like me and Avery have a list. Tim has a list. My list is
I know about
massive.
your list.
It's massive.
Yeah. That'd
Adley
be-
Rutschman just got on it yesterday.
Yeah. Can't get a hit.
Can't get hit. Bats 300. I can't fucking tell. 2 games in a row. Can't lay one down. Lay one down. You bat 300. 5 at bats. Lay one down. Can't lay one down.
So you guys spend a lot of time watching sports outside of just this show too.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Thorough.
Problematically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a career choice, if you will, for me.
Sure.
I coach football, so
You got to.
yeah.
Cool.
And I just have a crippling gambling addiction, so I also got to.
But even before I coached, I paid attention to people like Brian Baldinger. I don't know if you know who that guy is, but he really breaks tape down. He shows you like the next step. Like Tony Romo brought an aspect of live coverage to the game and kind of turned a lot of these.
Peyton and Eli
Yeah.
too.
It was really impressive when he just started because nobody was
Yeah.
really doing that.
He
would
turned,
just
like,
draw out each
sign-
play and
well,
make
Yeah, no, he
sense
was
of
like,
it.
oh,
he
now
put it in
watch, the
layman's
safety's
terms.
going to drop and somebody's going to be open right in the middle, right there, number 8. And then that
Boom.
play,
Yes.
number 8 is open over the middle because
incredible.
the safety dropped.
At least for me, who's not like super well versed in like sports tactics.
Yeah, no,
or
when they
whatever,
say football
tactics.
IQ, that's what they're talking about.
right? For sure.
And Peyton does the same shit on the Monday Night Manning cast. It's the exact same thing.
And if you have watched a football game with me over the last, been out of the Army for a few, almost 6, like 4 or 5 years, it's probably because you know football. It pains me to sit in a room where people are like, "Oh, tackle him, tackle, run." Like, yeah, no kidding.
No shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of the name of the game here,
Yeah.
folks. And I kind of just shut myself in a room and watch games by myself because it's easier, and that's that. But
Less distractions.
right,
And
but
you don't have stupid people saying shit that's pretty.
but when you
fucking
have
obvious.
people like
Yeah.
Peyton and Eli and Tony Romo coming in, putting it into these terms that most people can understand as to what's going on, it makes it more enjoyable to watch with more people.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate it at least.
No, I
love
like it.
it.
I thought it was really impressive when he started and that shit started happening. I was like, oh my god, there's a lot more to that. I always knew there was a lot more to it that I didn't understand, but to be able to see somebody actually break it down in a way that I could understand was just really interesting and cool.
I like Greg Olson.
Yeah.
That's
He's
my
been
new
around
guy.
for a while
Yeah.
too.
He's solid.
7th floor crew.
7th floor
You
club.
know-
Some
you know-
old University of Miami.
Hey.
Yeah,
Him and
got
Devin
the
Hester.
rap group.
Are you familiar?
No.
Oh, buddy. So Greg Olson went to University of Miami, and there was a
Devin
rap
Hester, too.
group formed in the 7th floor of the dorms, and they have at least
Provocative. Very
Yeah.
provocative
Provocative.
tune that
Very
you can find
provocative.
on YouTube.
I feel like I might have seen like a clip of this or somewhere
Oh,
on YouTube or
yeah.
Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, it
yeah.
would never be on nationally televised anything, but
No.
you can find it on YouTube. It's not something you want to watch with the kids around.
Oh yeah, get spicy, huh?
The 7th
What
floor
is it?
crew
Like
is
2004, 2005, like underground
Yeah.
college football team rap group. I mean,
Sounds pretty serious.
Olsen just won an Emmy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't for that song.
no.
Yeah, it was not for the 7th floor crew recording. No, he knows what he's doing. There's a few guys who are coming in now. They're clearly putting an extra added value to this person played the game.
Tom.
Yeah, Brady he's
Go
about
look
to
at
make
the
more money
contract he
calling
signed.
games than he did playing.
What was it? 500 million that he signed
I think it was
before he retired.
no, it was like way more than it was like 600 million for 10 years, something like
CBS,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he
Yeah.
hadn't even retired, but they were like, "Hey, we're gonna
They're like,
go
we're
and
gonna
watch
just-
this
Just so you
gonna
know,
beat him
whenever
here.
you're ready.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna be the ones to do this before anybody else does.
Yeah, but there's like Tom Brady and literally everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had this conversation with Ronnie, one of the other guys we do the podcast with. There's Tom, there's Wayne Gretzky. In my lifetime, it was Tiger Woods. Again, in my lifetime, it was
It's still
Floyd
Tiger
Mayweather,
Woods.
and that's
Those are the goats.
it's not even close.
Until somebody comes
Michael
close.
Jordan.
Michael Jordan is what I was thinking too. If you would have went to basketball.
I know.
I
It's
could
the
go-
great
that
Jordan
one is
LeBron
or
debate.
Kobe. I can say
I'm with-
LeBron
yeah,
or Kobe.
I'd
That
agree with
was
those
no,
three.
but listen, see, 3 names just came up with Brady. You can't put another name
Exactly.
there.
And that's
with
why
Tiger.
I didn't say Michael.
Scoot has to play his dick off for
the
like
next
the next
3
10
years.
years to be maybe close.
Well, not to go down this nerd route because I
Okay,
too
let's
am a
do it.
sports nerd,
Yeah.
but you could say he was just playing with a bunch of crusty old white people. But Jack Nicklaus does have more major titles than Tiger Woods
Phil?
does.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson is
Yeah. One
an
flew over
actor.
the cuckoo's
Phil Mickelson.
No, Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus
Jack-
is
Jack-
the
Jack
golfer.
Nicklaus.
Jack
He's a
Nicklaus.
golfer.
So
The
I'm a
Golden Bear.
bro. Nicholas is insane, and the things that have happened in the last 10 years on TV with Nicholas are insane. So, just for one, Nicholas's grandson was his caddy at the Masters Par 3 2 or 3 years ago, and the 18th hole, Nicholas let his grandson tee off for him as a par 3 challenge. Nicholas's grandson drills a hole in one. At the Masters Par 3
pressure.
challenge. Yeah, right, bro.
This is
It's-
your expectation now.
It's just between that and then I don't know when or what it was, but it was another older golfer challenge, and there was some crazy green, or it was like it was some crazy shot, and Nicholas is heard saying, "Just putt it," and the other old golfer's like, "Let me see you putt it." So
And then he
Nicholas
goes and
walks.
lays it down.
Dude, Nicholas walks out, like, flicks the ball out of his hand, looks at it. Bro, he putts this thing harder than you, cranks it, and you just watch the ball ride the top of the hill and right in the hole, and you're like, bro, what?
Yeah.
Like, and that's just TV. I don't know. It's real interesting, which there's not a lot of Nicholas on TV.
No,
So,
no, it's amazing the level of skill so many of these athletes play with that is like unfathomable to like a normal human being.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like so many people that aren't invested or never played sports or weren't are not impressed by the athleticism that's showcased in like a game like golf or tennis or basketball, hockey. Any sport really. There's just so much.
Well,
more.
there's the guy who looks like me who's eating Cheetos on a couch And he's like, I could have fucking caught that.
Oh yeah.
I would throw.
How do you not catch that? It's like, I don't know, because he threw it 800 miles a fucking hour. He was moving 23 miles an hour. Like, what do you, I mean.
Yeah, Joe
not
Milton, who's
not a
not
layup.
that good, threw the ball, 100 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Literally. And the receiver's running at 20.
Throw a football at 100 miles an hour.
You know
He's
what
not good.
You know what I say though.
This guy stinks.
Whenever I'm watching it, it's usually a Raiders game, and I'm like, we need to catch the fucking ball, you know?
Exactly. It's,
Yeah,
it's
hit you right in the
instinctual.
fucking hand.
And then anytime anyone's ever like, well, I'd like to see you do that, I say, hey, I'm not getting paid millions of dollars
There's
to catch
always the
a
retort.
fucking ball.
There's always a retort.
There's a retort.
It's like, how did Aiden Hutchinson miss that sack? It's like, Aiden Hutchinson's 6'7" and 280 pounds. And he runs a 4.4. Okay. Yeah. If Aiden Hutchinson didn't make that sack, no one's making that fucking sack. Okay. This is a freak of human nature.
Yeah, 4.4 is pretty fast.
It's like, how do you miss that sack? I don't know. Were you gonna fucking get it, Mike? Probably fucking not.
Yeah, hold my beer.
Yeah. Go back to the refrigerator, Mike. Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know. I stand with Mike.
Yeah.
I stand with Mike. You know,
But that's because you learn to have such high expectations.
No,
which
no.
naturally these guys are making tens of millions a year.
I'll stop you there, because if someone's like making like going for like a behind the back catch, or they're about to get drilled, that doesn't happen too much in football anymore because of the rule changes. But if it's like a ridiculous like sideline catch or something, I understand, I empathize, but I don't know if they're standing like in the middle of the end zone wide open and it bounces off their hands. I feel different. There was a Raiders game a few years ago where my old buddy Deshaun Jackson, rest in peace, because whatever, but we're playing the Chiefs. He's wide open, he catches the ball and he's running, and I'm like, this guy's fast, you know, he's gonna score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So he wheels back the other way holding the ball like this. He drops it with no one touching him. The Chiefs pick it up. Those are the moments where I say, oh boy, you get paid millions of dollars to do this. You can't hold on to a fucking football. You know what I'm saying?
Was it the Raiders that I watched in my lifetime? I put it over the butt fumble. It was the Raiders Patriots game where Mac Jones, you know what I'm talking about? I think it was Monday night. It was the worst play that I've ever seen of any sport of all time.
Well, we were on the good side.
I know.
Yeah.
You had
Chandler
John Jones'
Jones.
brother. Yeah.
Chandler Jones.
He's like off the rails now. That's what happens when you play for the Raiders. You become a felon. You lose mental capacity. Like the city just fucking destroys you. You're the guy who's in charge of you is what's on his head. Who is this person? This is a fairy tale. What's on his head? What is that? That's not hair. What is that?
Oh, we're talking about Mark Davis?
Yeah. You're like, this is the guy who runs shit around here?
Yeah.
And you expect people to like figure it out and keep it together?
I mean, when you're a billionaire, you get to kind of
you can
do
do whatever
what
the hell
you
you want.
want. Because there's people that tell him, like, Mark, you look like a fucking idiot. And he's just like, I don't care.
Yeah. I can buy you telling me otherwise.
I didn't pay for you.
There's
to
an
tell
amount
me
of
I'm an idiot.
there's an amount of money.
Shine my shoes.
And I have that.
Yeah. I tell everybody, if I hit the lottery, today's Thursday, if I hit the Powerball tomorrow, I'll look like Riff Raff Wednesday.
Face tats.
Rainbow, shark teeth grills,
There you
cornrows somehow. I'll have an MTV tattoo on my neck. Nothing matters anymore.
No.
Nothing matters.
You're like,
Doesn't he have a BET tattoo on
Yeah,
his
he was a
ribs?
walking billboard for a while.
Yeah.
Shout out Riff Raff.
give me the
seen him live
Lloyd
twice.
Christmas. I'll walk into the barber. My hair's long enough. I just hit the lottery. Give me the Lloyd Christmas.
Yes.
Make me look as dumb as possible.
He's like, we don't do that here. We don't do that here.
Have
Here's
some
the address of where you
self-respect,
can get a Lloyd Christmas. Okay. Give
I
me the
don't-
Mark Davis.
Give me the Mark Davis. We don't do that. I think you do. You know.
It's amazing what money will do. And these guys are making a fucking ridiculous, obscene amount. I don't know how.
Oh, it's unspendable amounts of money.
a college student at like the age of 20 to 22 getting drafted, making millions of dollars. Like how that.
Now
how
they're
do I
making
make good
millions
life
before
decisions?
they get
yeah,
drafted.
right. Before they even get drafted. Now that the rules have changed in the NCAA. Yeah.
How do y'all feel about that? Do you think those athletes deserve to be compensated for the billions of dollars they generate for the NCAA?
Absolutely.
Yes, I do. I think that
It needs to be regulated, right?
it needs to be. It definitely needs to be
We're
regulated.
getting close to that. Have to be.
You guys know who Chip Kelly is?
Oh yeah.
So Chip Kelly has
He
a
broke
bit.
it all down.
Yeah, he has a bit, and it's like a minute and a half. And somebody asked him in a press conference, kind of something about this. And the way he breaks it down is, he gets rid of all of the conferences, makes it a national conference, and kind of plays off of that. There's revenue sharing and almost like a players' union set up, and you can set up these conferences and divisions, and
Like the NFL.
Yeah, and sell it. And instead of calling it the West, you could call it the Amazon division. Instead of calling it the East, you could call it Adidas. You know what I
Right,
mean? Something
sure.
like that. And you play off of all of that and reorganize the money and spread the wealth. And the way you could build the schedule, you could still keep good rivalry games. And, you play a couple teams from each division, just like the NFL, and so on and so forth. And that's what needs to happen.
See, I don't know if I like that as much. I'd rather have the individual players kind of be out for themselves.
But
Which on paper is phenomenal, but it's a different thing when Nick Saban calls you and says, "Hey, when can I do an at-home visit? I'd like to talk to you." And before you get off the phone with Nick Saban,
well, he's not
Not
calling
anymore.
no, I know. This is why he stopped.
Right.
Because the kid goes, "Well, how much will you offer me in NIL? Because
Yep.
otherwise we don't even have to talk."
This is my only critique of what it is now. I absolutely believe these people should be getting paid.
100%.
Why make them go to class? Just have them be
It's all
employees of
for
the unit.
fucking show.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
I know,
I'll-
but
I'll
like,
say why.
Which there
I'll say
are
why.
some
Okay,
guys who
because-
get their degrees.
yeah,
but
right. But I mean, the guys like the
right.
Caleb Williams, they're never, or like Archie Manning.
Yeah, no.
Like he's never gonna use. Well, he might use his degree, but he doesn't need
Josh
to go to
Dobbs
school.
has his degree in aerospace science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
and-
his doctorate. I
and-
almost want to
yeah.
say.
He played
Yeah.
for 2 teams last year.
Right? He was super
you see-
Because
And
the
my-
money
Arizona.
made too much sense.
And what
Right.
I'm saying is he went to class, he got his degree, and he played on 2 teams last year. What if he plays on no teams for the next 3 years?
Right.
He needs something.
Well, but why force them?
Because I just feel like the whole idea of it, the basis of it, is to give you the opportunity when this sport doesn't work.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe-
plus the team is not paying them. You know what I mean? The team
No.
is not paying them. They're
No.
paying for them to go to school. So in order to get on the team, you have to keep certain level of academic proficiency, and then
Right.
you
Because
make
we
your
don't
money
want-
from Nike or Adidas or
Yeah,
whoever.
Because
wants to
Caleb
you.
Williams could turn into Henry Ruggs real quick.
Well,
and there
here-
could be how many thousands of football Division I players there are, and now we got 30 Henry Ruggses.
Yeah.
That's
and
an-
the people that
state.
don't want to go to class, they go to XFL or AF. They'll go to XFL or AFL if that's still a thing now.
Well, you still
UFL.
still have to go to college for football, I believe. Do they take players in the XFL that are straight out of high school?
I got
Yeah, no, they have a combine. You can, like, there was, I
No,
remember they were
it's an
talking about.
age. I think it's an age.
It's
I
an
could be wrong.
for football because I
Yes.
know it's such a violent sport. You have to develop. Here's the thing: that's an altruistic view, and I love it. But the colleges don't give a fuck about these kids
No,
getting their education. It's all about money.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's
But
like,
I'm coming from as like human success.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, but I want to develop successful humans, and if we're just like, we could just skip.
I
Let's look at
think-
Johnny Manziel.
Well, no, Johnny Manziel was gonna do the coke anyways. Like
Yeah.
he just took a little stop at Texas A&M at Old College Station.
Yeah, you got Cliff Kingsbury saying, he shows up hungover, he's all fucked up, but he's
Laughing.
about to be, national television, and Cliff's like, well, That's Johnny.
That's
like,
here's Johnny.
That's so counterproductive to
yeah.
this being a decent person. And case in point, Johnny Manziel stinks. He's a shitty person.
Yeah,
he's a genuinely shitty person.
I think he
today.
sucks.
Turn it around,
He sucks. But okay, so I don't want to use football as the option. Then I'll be done with this. I don't think that star basketball players should be forced to go to college
hold
for
on.
a year.
This is what I'll say too. If you go look at what these class loads are
Oh, they're not. They're a joke.
and what the expectation is and how one-on-one it is, like, I'm with you. Why we're just we're just checking a box.
Something tells me if
you know-
Jadeveon Clowney's grades weren't going well, his teachers weren't like, he can't play.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
he's going to fucking play. I promise he's going to fix the grade.
Well,
he's playing.
What I
Right,
would
but
want
that's not okay though.
No. But that's what NIL just basically, they were getting money already. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they were getting legal money
backdooring
already.
Kids.
No, not even. They were, bro. These Division I guys weren't just like, ha, sucks. Good luck. You don't got to get a part-time job. I don't know how you'll have a little extra. No, bro. There was like meal stipends and there was some things going on that people didn't want to talk about to promote the NIL stuff. I don't know.
You talk about like Jamarcus Russell, I think his parents came out and talked about like the cars that were offered to them and, you know, the living situations and where do you want to move to? And like, we really like your son. Like, we would love for him to commit here. What kind of shoes are those? Like, take these. Here, have some of these. Like, they wouldn't hand them directly cash. Like, here's a duffel bag of cash. But it's just like, I'm going to gift you this Ferrari.
Sure.
And, you know, just think of us when you're considering, which
Well, I'm
school
not going
to go
I'm not
to.
going to deed it
Just
to you. It'll be in my name, and if he doesn't play here, I'm taking it back.
But like Utah, all the Utah players, they all have Dodge Rams. They signed an NIL deal with a Dodge dealership there. Every Utah football player, no matter if you're third string punter, you drive a brand new Dodge Ram.
And that side of things is dope.
Yeah.
To me.
No,
You know what I mean?
agree.
Like,
I think they should just to go back to class one more time, and then I'll get over that. I feel like generally going to class and passing class and having that self-discipline is indicative to success in the NFL.
100%.
Like
100%.
if you're failing all your classes and you're passing and you're still playing, you're probably not really cut out for the level of discipline that playing in the NFL requires.
Well, yeah, and that's why, like, at least at our specific local level, but it's pretty universal. Like, if you coach most sports, like, you almost have to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. Like, it's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, as good as this kid is on the field, like, you see him 5 days a week. Like, this kid doesn't give a shit about his education. Like, we can't just, like, clearly there's some elite talents, but you can't just pretend like football doesn't last forever.
Sure.
Like, there's a reason 30 for 30 made that broke documentary however many years ago, and it's still relevant today because, like, these guys were never taught about financial literacy. Like, they were just, all right, here, good luck in the NFL. Here's your first round signing bonus of $21 million. Like, my mom's made 40 grand for my whole life. My dad hasn't been around, like, and here's $21 million. Hope you don't fuck this up.
Yeah,
it's
good
like,
luck.
they will. Like, they obviously will, So that's what's nice about the union. And that's why I think Chip Kelly was onto something as far as, like, fuck it. Like, just treat it like it's NFL for younger kids. Mm-hmm. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, those guys are adequately compensated. Those guys aren't complaining about their bills getting paid. Like, they make a 53-man roster, they're going to get paid no matter what.
Right.
Like, there should be a minimum,
It's the revenue sharing is what we're really talking about. Like,
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel.
You don't want to know what the NCAA has been making off of these kids.
Dude, not even the NCAA. Look at College Station before Johnny. Now look at College Station after Johnny.
Sure.
And you can't tell me that he wasn't the reason that they were selling out. He
Well, they
wasn't.
fuel economies.
You know what I mean?
I mean, look at State College, like the town, not
Right.
just like the
Right.
Yeah, no, it's nothing without Penn
Without
State.
football or Beaver
There's a lot of
Stadium.
towns like that.
tons of them.
What's
over the place.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama, without the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, nothing.
A population 8,000 farm town.
They got a pretty good law school, but that's like 400 people.
Right, exactly. That's 10% of the population.
Right.
And you see that in all of these. So many college towns are like that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a common story. The college just feeds that whole area.
Yeah.
And brings the money in, brings the economy in. Without those towns, they'd be gone.
Yeah, I mean, look at Edinburgh, 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
If there's no college there, what is Edinburgh?
Nothing. And you know what? Edinburgh's interestingly.
There's a lake.
There is a lake.
transforming.
There's a lake. There's muskie in that
Yeah.
lake.
There sure
You've never
is.
caught one.
Not one.
There's an armory.
I caught one though. First time ever out there. It was amazing.
Second cast or
42
what?
inches. Third probably, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
They call it the
Edinburgh-
fish of 10,000 casts. For me, it was 30, and then I gave up. So 30,000 is enough here.
I don't know if you guys have been out there recently, but Edinburgh as a town is going through like a big cultural, well, maybe not cultural, but like economic revolution out there. Like the whole town is kind of stepping up and becoming nicer and a place that people actually want to. I would want to live there. You know what I mean? They've got some interesting shops and interesting things
Yeah.
going on, and there's
The little town square
construction.
area is sweet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that would not be happening, no fucking chance, without Edinburgh University. And same with the lake cottages. Like those
Yeah.
were like, I remember when I went to Edinburgh in like 2008, all of those lake cottages were like cheap ass student rentals for the whole year.
My grandfather went to Edinburgh and graduated in 72, something like that. He lived in one of those lake cottages.
Yeah, I had friends who lived in those lake houses, and they were dirt cheap. It was like $3,000 for like fall and spring semester.
Yeah.
Like
Now
the
it's
whole way,
like,
dude.
would you like to buy this? It's $850,000.
Easy all fucking day. Not to say that there aren't ones out there that aren't probably still student housing, but like there are some
You know how
big,
much
like,
they're charging for
$1 million.
those?
Oh, dude.
And I'll
Right?
say this: if you haven't gone down, Edinburgh Road in a while, is it Sunset Grill?
Yeah,
Sunset?
it's
Bro,
nice as fuck.
They have like
They disappointed me last time I was there.
I've never been there to eat, but I went to
You're
college.
paying for a view.
Well, I
food's
graduated.
decent.
I graduated college December of 22. So, August of 2018 to December of 2022, that place exploded, and it
Sure.
looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't see that a lot around here.
I might have
I grew up
ordered
on
the
the
wrong
Outer
thing.
Banks, and
That's
stuff
some
like
shitty
that's
Canadian.
everywhere, and you see that, and you're like, I like what you're doing out there.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's been a long time coming too, honestly. Like that lake is beautiful. You can ride like fully motorized boats. It's not like Lake Pleasant where you can only row or whatever.
Electric, yeah.
Yeah, and it's sweet. And there's tons of waterfront property out there that's worth tons of money now
Yeah.
that
Yep.
never was before.
There's
They
an
have
island
a-
in the middle of it that's privately owned currently.
They have a
Yeah.
I've heard of that, yeah.
phenomenal wrestling program, too.
Dude,
Sure.
yeah, they
There's
sure
one
do.
for a long time.
Little
Didn't,
Bruce Baumgartner.
Bruce Baumgartner, Gregor Gillespie, who's a former UFC fighter, wrestled for Edinburgh. From
Their Stars has a
Rochester.
good wrestling team too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not quite Penn State level, but nobody
No.
is.
That's right.
Shout out Carter Starachi.
Dude,
Shout out Cathedral Pratt.
That's
that's an all-time great college program.
an all-time great wrestler running it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's not a coincidence.
dude.
How many national titles have they won in the last 15 years? I think they've
10?
won all of them,
11?
but 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I know Iowa won one and Ohio State won one, and I think besides that, it's all Penn State.
Yeah, they're the pinnacle.
Yeah,
We are, baby.
we are.
Yeah. Get that flag in there.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that sports can have such a big effect on a town like that. Like Edinburgh, I mean, they got the college, they got athletics, they bring in people. I mean, there's so many big examples of what having a good education system or like and the positive influence that it can have on the town economically.
Yeah.
And make people want to stay, you know what I mean? That's like one of the things that really amazes me, that we have all of these colleges here, all these good colleges that people come from across the state and from different states to, but
Countries?
nobody fucking countries too, that nobody fucking wants to stay in Erie, and everybody leaves to go to wherever, Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Columbus.
That's a pretty known thing though. Like, there's numbers out there that I remember somebody talking about, like when I was graduating, maybe in how many people are graduating and how few are
Actually
staying.
stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very small number. I have a question. I know it's everything but the football program, but how much can be changed with Mercyhurst going D1?
Okay,
Because that's
so-
like a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big deal. When I showed up, it was kind of a topic of conversation, and
Yeah.
I think it's more of a stepping stone for the organization and the university to take the next step and be bigger and set themselves apart athletically from the other two schools in the county. You know what I mean? So I think that if implemented the right way, what that could do for the sports in this town and the youth in this town, that's unprecedented.
Because they're still going to be recruiting locals. Like, all three of those colleges recruit the shit out of local athletes.
And
so now, all of a sudden, it wasn't just like, well, I can go to there and play D2, and I can go to there and play D2, and it just kind of stops after this 4 years, most likely, where now it's like, well, I can at least get some tape out. You know what I mean?
and on top of that, like, it's unfortunate that hockey isn't quite as popular as other sports, because Mercyhurst men's and women's hockey have both been phenomenal for a long time. Women's especially, but like, you could be seeing the Mercyhurst Lakers in March Madness, in the college basketball tournament now. Like, that's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
Could you a team like that making a Cinderella run, like, that could be huge for the city.
I think that attracts a lot more younger athletes too, with like sports camps. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like when somebody is going to get drafted out of Mercyhurst, which probably won't be this year or next year, but eventually somebody will be at least in the draft, and they're going to be like the golden goose of their college football camp or their summer football camp.
But even like now, there's kids who probably won't get drafted or whatever for whatever reason. But now, like, because of the UFL, which is the XFL and USFL, they merged. Now it's the UFL. Now it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go try to walk on to the UFL and make $5,000 a week and hold a job. You know what I
why
mean?
not?
Like, we have options now, and now they can go into that saying, well, I played Division I football for the last 4 years.
Right.
Not to get too far away from this topic, I'll say I grew up down in North Carolina. I went to high school for 3 years in North Carolina. I didn't move up here till my senior year of high school, and the amount of organization that went into football specifically, like, you knew who in our entire conference the fastest kid was. You know who had the fastest 40 at our combine. Up here, we have 3 Divisions II schools. Nobody could tell me who the fastest kid is in D10. Yeah. They could tell me who they think it is or who ran the fastest in track, but bringing that Division I aspect,
we'll organize all that.
yes, it'll start to put a number, and it'll give them more to work towards, in my opinion, not in season.
And we have a bunch of talented student athletes in high school too, between McDowell and Prep and the other county schools. There's
Harbor
definitely
Creek sending
talent
a kid to West Virginia to play O-line.
Yeah.
Cooper Cousins, All-American.
Yeah. Well, I mean, outside of just people that live in Erie, with like more D1 schools, you're getting the chance to have more athletes that are coming to our city that have the potential to have more earning power when they get out of school. So it's very important to leave a good impression of what Erie is, so that they bring money back this way. You know,
I love Erie. I don't know if you got. I think I've told Josh this a bunch, but
it's for you. You could have lived anywhere, basically.
Yeah, but at the same time, I went to 3 high schools. I was in the Army. I know a lot of people that live in a lot of places, and they spend so much.
Oh yeah.
They spend
no chance I have a house living
It's very
in
cheap
any
to
other
live
city.
here.
And
Yeah, but now I can have a
little bit of
family
snow.
if I want to. I can afford to have a family. I can afford to go on vacation.
Yeah, one of the
because-
few places in America where you can still.
And-
it's like, does it snow during the winter?
Sure.
Sometimes.
Not so much anymore.
Not really.
Sometimes.
As of late, not really.
I didn't even turn my
I'm
snowblower
going
on
to get my
last
real
year.
estate license right now. You know, hey, it snowed. Hey, I used my snowblower 2
Once,
times
maybe
last
twice,
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
See-
I only put gas in it once. It's not that bad.
We do over the last couple years with all our guests. Basically, we are very like community centric and like talking up Erie. Let's make it as best as it can possibly be. And in like 15, 20 years, you know, when Erie gets it right and everybody starts moving here and shit gets expensive, like it's Pittsburgh, you know, we're like, what have we done?
Why did we tell all the people
How did this
how good it
happen?
was? Yeah. Look,
How is every street a one way?
when the solar
where
eclipse
did these
happened,
hills come from?
when the solar eclipse happened, I had never ventured off into my public Snapchat story. That was the first time, and I pretty much said, I hope it's cloudy, gloomy day, so all these people get a poor impression and it stays cheap.
Keep it moving, yeah.
It was cloudy
You know?
too, but it worked out all right.
Hey, I don't want everybody knowing about this secret I got up here in Erie, PA. It'll get real expensive real quick.
Yeah. I mean, if 2020 showed us anything, that there's definitely room for the houses to get more expensive for sure.
Yep.
And that's naturally what happens as the population grows in any area. You know, housing demand gets higher and the amount available gets lower. That's the way it is.
If you bought a house in any time in 2019 or prior, it's worth
Double.
twice
Easy.
what you paid for it
I
right
bought in January of 2020, and you know things are only worth what somebody's willing to give you. And Zillow tells me I paid 108. Zillow tells me like 148.
Yeah.
So
I bought in 2017.
for 4 years.
yeah,
And I'm over 100% of what I paid for, but I
Yep.
fucking stole this house back in 2017, then refinanced in 2021. So it's just like easy, good place, god tier financial decisions.
And I know you've had more than one person hit you up independently without you asking, like, we want to buy your house.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, those calls come, I think, probably to anybody.
So
who
that's
fucking
always in
owns
the
a
back
house.
pocket.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
it's
like,
there.
well, it's been a tough month.
So might as well sell the house.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go.
And
This is
then,
about to be an Airbnb. Good
yeah.
luck.
Quit my job for a year and just live off the whatever the fuck that extra money's called. I can't think of it right now.
equity.
Yeah, the equity for a year or two and travel the country, whatever, and come back.
Sell
van
it,
life.
sell it, buy an RV.
Yeah.
Buy an
Yeah,
RV.
van life, dude.
Park at Walmart's.
Yeah.
Rotate.
Buy a tiny home.
There's a dude on YouTube who like secret camps in his RV, like weird places.
Oh, YouTube is a magical place.
There's
Magical place.
the content quality of those people that are living out there in the RVs and in the vans is just absolutely magnificent.
Oh, it's
sometimes.
phenomenal.
Yeah, dude.
And they get millions of views. I just found one. The algorithm blessed me with a kid named Maverick who lives in Minnesota, drives an F-150, has turned it into a home.
Nice.
And he's like, yeah, we're doing some truck camping. And I'm thinking like, so he's got a little camper attachment. It comes off the bed or something like that. Nope. He can crawl through from where he drives to the bed, which he has turned into a bed. And
Classic.
he cooks back there. And he's like, yeah, we're just parked somewhere. A lot of snow tonight. Hope we can get out tomorrow. And I'm like, brother, you have no phone service. Like, this video might be the last thing you ever do in your fucking life. I hope you enjoy that makeshift Chipotle burrito that you made in your truck. Like, and he's playing his
canned
Nintendo
beans.
Switch. I'm like, these kids are crazy, dude.
Yeah.
But they're
They're embracing something that is like, because I think that's why it gets so many millions of views, because kids are like, wait, he can go without cell phone service for 2 days at a time and not lose his mind. It's like, yes, that breed of human still exists.
Yeah,
there's such
it's
like
a
a high
beautiful
degree
thing.
of freedom with all of that too. You know what I mean? You make a video, you edit it, you put it up there. That pays all your bill for your
Literally.
your bills. And by bills, I mean like maybe a truck payment, gasoline.
I'm like,
and,
dude.
Insurance.
I look down, once it says the video's over, I look down and it's like, I just watched this for 57 minutes.
Right.
I just watched a kid be in a truck and live for 57 minutes. And then I looked at the view count, it's like 2.7 million uploaded 2 weeks ago.
You know how much
and I'm
money
like,
that is?
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's a lot of money.
He sat in a fucking truck, and I watched. I was like, this is clearly compelling. Like, they're doing something right. There's no music. It's just, hey, I'm Maverick. We're gonna be eating a burrito in the bed of my truck today. And I'm like, where's your next video, Maverick? Like, I'm in somehow. I'm in.
following your journey.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mav. I'm going to continue to make sure you make well over 6 figures a year and live off of, I mean, the way this kid lives, he only needs about $800 a year.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
You give this kid $1,000, like, he's straight.
Right, for a month.
He's like,
More
yeah,
than
as long
that.
as I can put gas in the truck. And it's like a 04 F-150. I'm like, Maverick. I mean, at least get,
Get something
I mean,
nice.
for Christ's
for
sake,
yourself.
you made $70,000
off
last
this
month.
video.
Buy something, dude.
Oh
No.
man, but the
Like, I like
opportunities are out
fishing.
there. That's like the dream too. You hit like one video that gets 1 million views and tons of ad revenue every like $7 every 1,000 watches on 1 million fucking watch video.
Yeah.
I mean, if he
I
I
plays this,
think this is what I'll say. Not to turn the conversation too much here, but just like Maverick was doing that, he was doing that before he was making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
He didn't say like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a YouTube video." So like,
He found other people on YouTube doing it. He was like, I do that
I'm
weird
already
shit.
in this truck.
yeah, and I think that just was when we tried to do the thing a couple years ago, and nobody was taking it serious. This time, we were already still doing it. Let's keep doing it. You know what I mean?
We didn't have a product we were proud of. And shout out, y'all know him. Shout out to John. Shout out to
he's a
John
good dude.
Boland. He made our podcast look semi-professional.
Woo.
It's been marvelous. The
I've been
product
trying
as
to
a
get him
result
on
of
this
even
show
knowing John has been phenomenal.
forever.
Yeah.
He's a
yeah.
busy
come
dude. I know he
Bro.
he
Well,
always says
he
he's going
just
to,
took
but
a new job, and he's slammed with it now.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not doing 4 at 4 anymore.
He's doing WQLN now,
Oh,
Yeah.
good for him. Fuck yeah.
which he's doing like the exact same thing that he was, and now he's making like 30% more. And he's
That's
still
the way to
doing
do
shit
it.
on the side. Like
Yeah.
we're one of like multiple clients
3
that
or
he
4
has.
people.
Hell yeah. Good
Shout
for
out to
him.
John.
Yeah, John, come on the show if you're watching this out there sometime.
Come on the show, John.
Yeah,
we'll
he's-
come back. This is my second time. I'll come back a third time.
So, do you mind if I go in how
No.
we met John?
No, do your thing.
go for
All
it.
right, so we went. We could start from the top. How I got everybody together. We did this a couple years ago, and it didn't work because we weren't taking it serious. People were in and out. I wasn't an asshole. Like, hey, we're doing this, right? And I turned into that just a skosh, just see who's in and out, and we got a group of 4 of us that were in, and we just started kind of practicing. I don't have any editing abilities, and didn't know what to. We were trying to put it together. Josh had a really good point when we were starting. He was like, I wanted to be live. He was like, bro, let's pump the brakes on the live. Let's just record some stuff and put some stuff out. I was like, okay. So we started recording some stuff, whatever. We're trying to find an editor, and I mean, I don't know what your capabilities are, but
Oh, I would have edited this. I would have done a better job than John.
Ooh.
I'm calling him out.
I just didn't know. Like,
No, it's
I
all
don't know
good,
a
dude.
lot. It's hard and it's expensive. It's good work and it's expensive, and I didn't have a network that had somebody like that.
Sure.
And we were conversing a lot then, and our one of the other guys on our podcast, Ronnie, his dad worked at Jet TV forever, and
Started the union there.
and I called, I was on the phone, and I was like, bro, you know who has the guy? He's like, who? I'm like, your dad. Like, your dad knows somebody or knows somebody that could point me in the right direction, even if they didn't end up working for us. And sure enough, like a week later, somebody that his dad knew called me, and I started talking, and he was like, hold on a second, I'm going to put you on speakerphone. There's a guy right next to me that probably knows way more. Like, okay, he puts me on speakerphone, and this real deep voice comes on. He starts talking to me. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, we'll jump into Discord later tonight, blah, 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 blah. One thing led to another. We meet John. Like, a month later, I thought John was like a 40-year-old man. A month later, he's like, yeah, bro, I can't even go to the store and buy a beer. I was like, what? How old are you, cuz? He's like 20. I'm like, holy like, the kid's amazing. And the happening that we found him kind of deal was kind of even cooler, I think, because we like used our network and came up with something. It wasn't just like,
It was
I don't
getting
know.
bigger, but it's small.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You
small
just had to
enough.
ask a couple people and figure it out.
Right. And I don't know. I thought that was just like if you don't know anything about video editing or like how to produce anything, and you happen upon a kid that's just a 20-year-old kid that's
Self-taught.
yeah,
Yeah.
just completely self-taught. It was just like, wow, this is really cool. Like, regardless of where this goes, we're overcoming obstacles as a team that a lot of people couldn't. You know,
Yeah.
it just made me feel good about things. You know.
No doubt, man. It's good shit. John's a good dude. I'm really happy you guys are working with him for real. Yeah, he's been a good friend to this show as well. He's had us on the 404 a couple times. It was interesting because we kind of discovered each other through both podcasting, and somebody sent him my way, or he sent me his way, or I don't know how it fucking happened, but like through Idiotville we ended up talking and shit like that, and he was always just real welcome, like, yo, I'm glad you guys are doing this. If you ever have any questions, anything like that, I run stuff by him all the time in the past when we were just getting started, and saw what he thought, and he always gave good advice and good input on what we
Crazy
should do
solid,
next.
dude.
Yeah.
He is going to hate our last episode.
Yeah.
Very
some
non-confrontational.
There's
Friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told Tony about it. Essentially, our next episode, I don't even know what episode is, 14,
16.
15, 16.
How long
when
have
it-
you guys been doing this now? Like
Gotta be
6-7
4 months.
4 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, like at this level, it's 4 months.
We
But
had
so-
about 2 months of practice and
Sure.
meeting and organizational stuff and trial runs, and you know,
And kind of discovered to have like some amount of a format, like some specific topic, but beyond that, very organic, not scripted, like
Sure.
exactly what we did here. You know, like when you initially reached out and said, "Would you guys want to be on the show?" I got hold of him, and he was like, "What questions are they going to ask?" I was like, "We ain't even going to do it. Like we're just
Right.
we're going in, dude.
I
This
didn't
is-
know.
This is
I
going
just
to be easy."
didn't know if it was going to be like current sports or if it was going to be like
No,
the organization. Like,
Yeah, no,
It's
I'm a-
everything.
everything
at
at once.
once.
yeah. No, absolutely. I'm just a very organized guy. At the end of the day, you can ask Josh. I can be
No, I get it.
a big thorn in a side, but in order for something to be successful, it's got to be perpetuated in a way that is a system, and until you have that system, things aren't efficient and it's slow moving. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that was my biggest thing, is just developing. Boom, 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 and there's a product. Boom, 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 and there's a product. And getting four adult males that live in different time zones in different states, and one of which who travels all the time. It's not easy.
No, for sure.
It's not easy, but it's fun. And it was to the point a couple months ago where I was kind of sucking the fun out of it because I was very frustrated. But I've kind of learned to internalize some of it and make it fun. Like, that's what this is about. It's fun.
Yeah, no
not
doubt.
something
More
that-
than likely, none of us are going to make a fuckload of money off of any
not?
of this shit.
No.
You know what I
Why
mean?
not?
right.
And I'm thousands of dollars invested.
Same.
Yeah. So it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I had a lot of good conversations with a lot of interesting people,
Yeah.
and learned a fuckload about a fuckload of different things, which is more than I could have asked. You know what I mean? We made a movie too. We just made a movie. Recorded songs down here. We've done some commercial work, bunch of photography gigs. All of it spawned just by like having an idea and going after it and being consistent, like you said, and developing a system that works for us and is organic and natural and flows. And yeah, you aren't the only person that's asked like, what kind of questions are you gonna ask? And we're like, well, we don't really ask or prepare very many questions.
No.
We just want to have a conversation. We just want to talk.
Because it would
with
be
you.
shitty.
Yeah.
If it's
I
just, reading off a teleprompter, like,
Yeah.
how did you get
Nope.
into it's like, you couldn't have just fucking
think
asked that.
That's why big media is failing in general, is
Yeah.
because everything
not
is so,
authentic.
Yeah, it's not real.
And it's transparent, That's why, I can speak for myself, but like when I wake up in the morning, I'm turning on ESPN. I'm watching SportsCenter, or like during the football season, I'm watching Good Morning Football on NFL Network. Like, couldn't tell you the last time I was like, I can't wait to watch the Today Show.
Yeah. No.
Like,
It is what it is.
Give me something that I actually want to see, want to hear. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. And people
And-
are moving away from that, you know what I
Right.
mean? It shows. That's why Maverick is getting 2 million views on his video about living in his fucking truck.
about parking somewhere.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to make a burrito. I hope they have bison meat at this grocery store for this burrito I'm going to make.
Yeah,
57 minutes later, I'm like, how did he do that?
I think it feeds
How did
into.
I just watch that for an hour?
I mean, you were just probably fascinated in some way, but I think a lot of people it just
he got
feeds
me.
into the existential dread because they're like, well, I'm not going to be able to afford a $300,000 house. I need to learn how to live in my vehicle.
Yeah, that's a
too.
very real thing. That's a very real thing. Have you considered living in a tiny home? It's like, yeah, apparently millions of people have considered living in a fucking
Or
tiny
moving
home.
out to the woods in a
Yeah.
cabin and just
Like,
fucking.
yeah, it turns out I hate the world that we live in.
Right,
So
it
I'm gonna
sucks.
just go be elsewhere. I'm gonna have a shed and I'll be good.
Right.
This
Give me a lake where I can fish from.
this just like brought up something in my own head just hearing all of this. So
Riley looks like he lives in the woods.
He could.
yeah,
It's a serious mountain beard for sure.
my
It never stops.
so
It
I
starts
messaged
here,
my
it goes to
barber.
here, down, all the way down to the legs.
I messaged my barber 2.5 months ago. I was like, hey man, can I come in for a cut? He responded with, I'll be out for the next 4 months. I had shoulder surgery. And I got pretty long hair, and I haven't had a haircut since I got out of the Army. And at this point, like, that guy has done it right. And
Loyalty.
Not
not-
seeing anybody
Loyalty.
else.
brother, this is
It's loyalty.
this is an absolute legendary mane that I carry. And if somebody fucks this up,
Yeah. It's not gonna be a good day for them.
no, I don't really mean that, but I'm kind of scared.
I got my haircut
But no,
today.
It's all right. It's working for you, dude. And
The-
by the time he's ready, you'll be
The
fucking.
thought that provoked was like I teach school and I was teaching at East last year, and I see these kids that don't have their parents don't have a lot, they're not experiencing a lot, and they're able to go onto YouTube and kind of I think there's a good and a bad. They can live vicariously through some of these other kids who take trips to Disney and do these other things. And in one sense, I think it's cool to afford an opportunity to somebody that maybe couldn't. But in the same sense, I think there's a lot of this that goes on with our youth that they're kind of taking somebody else's opinion on something and marrying it to their own, and they're not going to experience themselves. Like us as adults,
Sure.
watching it is a completely different thing because we know what we like. Some of the kids that don't know what they like are using somebody else's opinion on something that they might actually enjoy. Or it might be like their friend group doesn't like that. And now they're not going to go for it themselves, their own experience, because 3 of the 4 kids that they're closest to think it's dumb. And that to me sucks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all about fun and happy. And if you aren't, your individualness comes out that fun and happy. And when you're doing that, but don't get me wrong, like as adults experiencing these things that I don't have time for because I've got a whole nother life is sick. But, I just encourage, like, especially kids that, yeah, sure, that might have been their experience, but it might have been raining. It might have been, after a tragic event and they just didn't have a good time. Go do it yourself. You know
Yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure. No, I completely agree. I think that it's really easy to develop these vicarious relationships and become these people that we watch or these personalities or whatever. And a lot of them, you know what I mean? There's a level of authenticity, but there's also a certain level of showmanship. You know what I mean? Like I try to be myself as much as possible on this podcast, but at the same time, I might be going through some shit, or I might not be super interested or intrigued or whatever the situation is, but I'm still going to present in a certain way. You know?
Right, yeah, right.
And all these YouTubers and all these people out there are doing that same thing.
Well, they love arguments. They love debates. They love controversy. Like
Feeding that drama on
That's why-
Twitter and YouTube.
I told him, like, we had a literal blow up in the last episode. A Panthers fan and a Steelers fan got into a personal heated argument
Over the Cowboys.
over the tier ranking of where we placed the Dallas Cowboys defense.
Not
and
even
we
the
put
whole
them at a
team.
B.
Okay.
It's not horrible.
It's the middle of the road.
It
Right?
became
Average.
It became a personal attack.
Pull
At
up.
the end of it,
Pull up was the words
Pull
used.
up was used. Pull up was used. They live in very different states. Pull up was used. If they were in the same room, they would have physically fought, And I told him before, I was like, son of a bitch, that's probably going to be the one that gets like views. That's going to be the one that jumps.
For sure.
Yeah.
If we throw in the title like, can't keep it together, like, you know, podcaster loses shit. Like,
I think the
crazy thumbnail of like,
I think one of the most viewed Jim Rome clips of all time is him calling Jim Everett Chris, and he flips the table and gets in his face. So I think you're onto something.
No,
I mean, it's
100%.
probably
and that was
uncomfortable.
organic.
Sorry.
Nothing's ever scripted. That certainly wasn't scripted. When it happened, I literally went like this.
That'll be the thumbnail, dude.
I was like, this isn't even real life. That's what I'm saying. John is not gonna like this episode because he's gonna think everything's normal, and then he'll get to the end and just be like, "What the fuck is going on?" Be like, what the? Well, like, hey, where do you want to cut this? It's like, fuck it, leave it in.
Yeah,
leave
leave
the
it in,
whole
dude.
thing in, dude.
Yeah.
That's why I texted Josh
We ain't
about
getting
the Bills
demonetized.
afterwards.
Yeah.
I was like, your Bills ranking was shit for the offense, but I didn't want to get off subject
Yeah, no.
there.
Well, trust me, nobody would have told you to pull up.
No.
My God.
Again, I think it's difficult.
That's what sports does.
It's difficult for me in particular. So, again, kind of going back to how this whole thing started, the Steel Pirate. So I grew up a lot between PA and North Carolina. I lived in Eastern North Carolina, and like there's ECU, East Carolina University Pirates. My ex-stepfather, his parents had season tickets, and we went to just about every home game. I saw CJ2K before he was CJ2K. There's a bunch of players that I could go on about, but that was part of my life. So there was Pirate, and I'm a diehard Steelers fan. I lived on the Outer Banks, Blackbeard, Ocracoke Island. Look it up. Blackbeard lived there. Pirates. It's not so much Pittsburgh Pirates, but I'm a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. So I developed this idea. I'm not a very creative person. Okay, this was like revolutionary for me. Like, I just don't think art. And I came up with this name, and I came to them, and I was like, hey, this is my idea. And we don't have to do my idea, but we need to do an idea. Somebody got to come up with an idea. And I knew Josh. We went to high school together, kind of. Well, he went.
No, I went to high school
met.
with you.
No, you didn't go to McDowell when I was there.
Yeah.
Senior year.
Oh, you went senior year.
Only senior year.
I was asked to leave for senior year. Yeah. I was politely asked to go elsewhere my senior year.
We had mutual friends my senior year of high school. We didn't necessarily go to school together. That's how we met. We were good friends for a period of time, and then before that, or just after that, me and Ronnie were good friends. Roll back to my North Carolina days, Avery was my really good friend. So I had this collection of people and this idea, though they're all very different. And
which is necessary.
For sure.
right. And they have strong personalities, which is also necessary because, again, kind of like he said on Pardon My Take, it's not like, yep, Shohei Ohtani struck 4 people out in the first 2 innings again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's not there.
It's
And-
not going to work that way.
Right. So I had an inclination that something like this was happening or going to happen. So I tried to schedule meetings and get the group together, camaraderie. And it's not easy when you have 4 people that are very strong personalitied, very like-minded. So like they're real close, but their personalities are so strong it almost pulls them away. And
No doubt.
I think also, and I haven't really said it to Josh much, but growing pains.
Yeah.
Like that happened, and I think something crazy is going to happen after. Now I don't know what that is, but that happened. You get through that as a group, and who knows? You know what I mean?
No doubt.
2 people can look past some differences and get through some things. Like your relationship becomes stronger, and so on and so forth. And again,
It's definitely a challenge on so many different levels to put together a show like you guys are doing or what we're doing, and I greatly appreciate it. And I appreciate the time that you guys put in there, the quality product you're putting out. I know there's people out there listening. I've listened. Dave's been on the show. It's great. It's good to see other people around here following their dreams and doing what they're doing. It makes themselves happy and enjoy and face those challenges and overcome them. And thanks guys for coming down here and hanging out and talking with us. It's good to hang out with other fellow podcasters or people that are producing quality content to put out on the internet. So make sure you guys go like them. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Are you guys on
Twitter.
Spotify?
No.
Not yet. X.
Follow them on
TikTok.
X, TikTok, all the places. Hit those likes, hit those subscribes. Thanks to all our sponsors that help support us and make this all possible for us. And thanks to all of you who hung out and listened with us. Peace out, everybody.
See you.